Hi guys, welcome to the next in the series of investor concepts, and today we're looking at analysing the dividend. How do we go about analysing the dividend in terms of the strength of the company? Is it a good dividend? Is it likely to last? All those kinds of good stuff really. So analysing the dividend, what are you looking for in dividend stocks? Sometimes people are looking for the highest yield, i.e. the highest percentage return rate. So you might see some stocks that are offering 8%, 9%, 10%. In general, you want to stay away from these, in my opinion. You can leave your comments if you've had good experiences with these kinds of companies, but sometimes highly volatile stocks have a good year and they might have a very high yield in that year. But what I look for is companies that are going to be potentially looking to increase their dividend by 20, 30, 40% every year sometimes, really if you're looking over a long period of time. So the things that I look for are consistency. How consistent are they in paying? Have they paid over a number of years? Have they ever missed a year? Have they skipped? Yield over different cycles. So some businesses are going to be dependent on the economic cycle. For example, if we think of housing stocks or builders, constructors, anyone involved in that kind of industry, that's dependent on the macro economy. So in those cases, if we look at a lot of the house builders in the UK, there's a lot of these house builders have suspended the dividend over the economic crisis. Sometimes also I think bank stocks have maybe reduced their dividend. So you need to look at the yield over different cycles. When on the downswing of a cycle, what happens? Do they keep the dividend the same? Do they decrease it? Do they get rid of it completely? What happens in those circumstances? And you'll need to understand. You'll need to kind of work out if it's a stock you want to stick with, whether you're just going for the dividend or you're looking at it for other reasons. Are you looking for long-term investment, etc.? So consistency, yield over different cycles. Percentage increase over different years. So looking at a kind of 5-year, 10-year period, has the dividend increased double? Has it tripled, quadrupled, even more than that, or is it just up 10% every year? If we look at Domino's Pizza UK for the last 5 years, the dividend has tripled. So if the yield, that's what I'm saying, if the yield's low, if you're talking about maybe a 1 or 2% yield, 2.5% let's say, if it then triples over 5 years, suddenly, if you stick with the stock for 5 years, and I'm particularly a longer term investor, then you're looking at a return of 7.5% on that original capital. And if the dividend is likely to increase further by 20 or 30%, maybe in a couple of years you're looking at 10, 15% return in terms of dividend alone, forgetting about capital increases. Length of dividend record, again, this is kind of similar. This is about the consistency of the dividend really. There are some businesses that have kept consistent dividends for many, many years. If we look at America, if we're looking at Colgate, they've had I think 30, 40 years of dividends. If we're looking in the UK, Greggs the baker, national bakery chain, they've had consistent dividends for many, many years. So you want to look at that in terms of analysing dividend stocks. The volatility of the industry, so this is going back a bit to cycles, but not necessarily cycles, because if it's a volatile industry, maybe the industry won't even be around. You need to think of what's the risks to the actual industry itself. So if we think of kind of Domino's Pizza or Greggs, like, to be honest, in the UK, they're not going to disappear. People are going to need to eat. They're going to want to go to fast food chains and order a pizza or have a baguette or something like that. House builders at the moment, if we look at we're thinking that that there's a shortage of supply, so they're not going anywhere. But some industries, for example, if it's a technology company and they're producing a particular product, will that product still be around in 10 or 20 years? You need to think of the volatility of the industry that you're investing in. So that's analysing the dividend with reference to some of the wider factors. So that was today's investor concept video. If you want to check out the blog, it's www.waystofoundyourwallet.blogspot.com. On Twitter, I'm at JakeW99, and utilise the hashtags FatAndWallet and FatWallet. And please subscribe. It'd be great to hear your comments on these videos. If they've helped you, that'd be great. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing these videos, to share my knowledge. If you have any any information or any knowledge on investing in dividend stocks, dividend paying stocks, good experiences, bad experiences, then please do comment, and it'd be great to hear from you guys. Okay, cheers.